Hi, Chaminade Cross Country. I wanted to take a quick minute to go over a couple of the parts of your weekly schedule for this summer. So, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with me, my name's Coach Kelly. I'm one of the three coaches for Chaminade Cross Country. For those of you guys who are new to the program, looking forward to meeting you in person. But this schedule is just an option for you to get into running and gives you a little bit of guidance if you haven't done this sort of thing before. For those of you guys who are familiar with running, it also gives you some guidance and some kind of goals to hit for the different groups that you might be in. So I wanted to walk through some of those, some of the terminology that I use in the schedules, and also talk about what you can expect from me each week. This week I missed sending out a video for the Wednesday workout, so I apologize for that for those of you guys who saw that on the schedule. But I did want to go over what is on the schedule for Saturday or tomorrow for most of you guys, or today when some of you guys will see this. So for the time trial, what I'm looking for you guys to do, and this goes for whether or not you have a lot of experience with the sport of running or very little experience. What the time trial is meant to do is really just be an opportunity for you to see where you are currently. And a lot of the things that you're going to see that we give you to do over the course of the summer is to really work on your own personal growth as a runner. And we're going to be stepping in there and giving you some feedback on how you're doing. But really, we want you to see kind of where you are as a runner and to help you get in shape. So that's what the purpose of this is for. For the time trial on Saturday, the goal is for you to just run as best you think you can for 2 miles. For those of you guys who are in groups 4 and 5, you're going to do a little bit of a warm-up, about a half-mile jog or 4 minutes or so of jogging before you do the 2-mile time trial. And then you'll do a little bit of a cool down at the end. Once again, if you haven't run a lot of mileage before, take that very easy. You can maybe even walk, jog, but the goal is just to kind of get your heart rate elevated a little bit before you run hard for 2 miles, and then let it cool down again and get a little bit of stretching in after that. So that's for groups 4 and 5, as you see here. That's for the what we call the time trial. For groups 2 and 3, on Saturday, it's the same sort of thing. We want you to do a time trial, but I also want you to extend out your mileage a little bit. So instead of just doing a half-mile warm-up and a half-mile cool-down, you're going to do a mile warm-up and a mile cool-down for 4 miles total. And once again, that's just to get you a little bit more mileage. If you're familiar with these distances and your body is able to handle it, then this will give you a little bit of a better warm-up and might help you feel a little bit more prepared for the speed that you'll be feeling in the time trial. So that's for groups 2 and 3. And finally, for group 1, this is a group has been running a little bit prior to this time, whether in the spring they were training for track or has been kind of involved in the cross country program for a while. And so the people who are in this group, you should do a longer warm-up and a longer cool-down, just so you can get your mileage goal for the week. So it's going to be 6 miles total for that day, and 2 miles of warm-up, 2 miles of the time trial, and 2 miles of cool-down. So those are the different expectations, the benchmarks that I kind of want you to hit if you're in for each of those groups. But I also wanted to go over the definitions that I used throughout this sheet. And this goes for all the different groups, whether you're in group 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. So up at the top here where it says definitions, this just to kind of keep the table not being super long, I wanted to use some shorthand. So anytime you see this, you're going to notice that it's referencing a warm-up. Easy is just an easy pace. That's something that is easier than your aerobic pace, which is something that you'll get to be pretty familiar with when we get into the season. But pretty much imagine easy pace as a very, very comfortable pace. You're not really out of breath. So that's going to be a pretty relaxed, easy pace. Aerobic pace, on the other hand, is a little bit different. When you're running an aerobic pace, so you can see a couple of these runs in group one here this week were aerobic. So AE, so the Tuesday's run meant that these guys who were doing this should have felt like they would have difficulty carrying on a conversation if they were to try and be talking to a friend at that time. And that's kind of right where the point where your body's having to pause and kind of catch its breath in the middle of a run. So that's what aerobic pace means. Workouts, you're going to see that pop up here and there. Whether you're in any of these groups, you're going to see at least one workout a week, if not more. And a workout is a little bit different than an aerobic run or an easy run because we're asking you to push your body a little bit more. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with any of this, the different levels of running, the goal with the workout is just to push your body more than you would have in the easier runs. So don't put a ton of pressure on yourself, but do try and challenge yourself to run a little bit faster. The fast-paced days that you go out and run are really going to be the areas, the times that you see the most growth in your running performance later on. So once again, it's a beneficial thing to do. For the CT cross training, that could mean that you bike for a day or you go swimming or maybe you do an elliptical. Any number of other things can, a stationary bike also qualifies. Any number of things can qualify as cross training. But once again, you'll see that occasionally on the different groups' schedules. And long, slow distance, what that means is distance runners tend to improve when they do a little bit longer distance than what maybe they're comfortable with at a time. And generally, we back off the pace and we focus more on going a further distance. And generally, our days for long, slow distance runs are on Mondays. That's why, at least in Group 1 here, you see it on Monday. In Group 2 and 2 and 3, and also in 4 and 5, you'll see a long, slow distance day on Monday. And then finally, the term TT just means time trial. We only have one scheduled on here so far, but we might add in another one later on in the summer just to give you a chance to see if you've had any improvement since the last time trial, which is Saturday. So if you have any questions on this, once again, this is the weekly schedule. Coach Harmon sent out the group that you're a part of. And so reference back to this and click on the tab at the bottom that refers to which group you're in. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always willing to answer any confusing parts of this. Or even if you just say, hey, Mr. Kelly, or Coach Kelly, I have a injury that I'm kind of, dealing with. I can also help you with that and find some ways to get you healthy again. So thank you, guys. I'm excited to see all the progress that you guys make over the virtual run. And once again, get out there, see some of the roads. Hopefully you get an early start so that you're beating the heat as well. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.